I'll just get right into it. My aunt had been staying with us for 4 months. We never saw her often because she lives on the other side of the country, but my mom took her in after a horrible divorce. I immediately noticed that she was acting a little weird and loony, but I attributed that to having gone through so much with her husband. My brother, who's 20, seemed to make a lot of effort to spend time with her, but I didn't think anything of it because why would I? I came back early from work one day and heard really loud noises. The more I listened, the more I realized someone was definitely making love. I instantly thought that my brother brought a girl home or something because the noises came from his room. His door was somewhat open, so I rushed past it to get to mine, only to be stopped dead in my tracks when I saw the back of my aunt, clear as day. I instantly felt like throwing up and managed to get to my room without them seeing me. In there I pretty much collapsed, contemplated my existence and the utter freaked upness of my family. I knew it was screwed up, but not like this. Then I just felt scared. I didn't know what it meant. I knew it was wrong, very wrong, but not what to do about it. I was also honestly super scared for their well-being, especially my brother who had already been abused by my cousin as a kid. I just kind of panicked. So the next day, my aunt went to work and I knew she would be there late. When my mom came home, I instantly told her I needed to tell her something. I sat her down and told her exactly what I saw and heard, and she went ballistic. She stormed to her car and drove to my aunt's job. My aunt never came back. My brother is now very upset with me. He told me that they're two consenting adults and can do whatever they want and that they weren't hurting anybody and that it was never my business. He has all of his stuff packed and he's planning on driving across the country to be with her tonight. My mom is still livid about it and told every single one of my family members. They all hate my aunt now and want nothing to do with her. This made me feel guilty because they used to absolutely adore her. Now I'm stuck wondering if I made an idiot move by telling on them. My family is a mess. My mom, who already had issues, has seemingly gone off the rails. My aunt is all on her own and my brother might never forgive me. Not the idiot. You did the right thing. And this is funny when your brother said they are consenting adults and not hurting anyone. Seriously. Mom goes ballistic and family outrage seems like hurt to me. You did the right thing. It would have come out eventually and likely from your aunt getting pregnant. There are serious issues there with the history of this abuse and your brother thinking this is okay. It is not. He is not Jon Snow and she is no dragon queen. Good luck and support your mom. Gonna go against the grain here and say you are the idiot. Now everyone is going to look at your grown adult brother as some sort of pariah. It has torn your family apart, and for what? Because you thought it was gross. Well, it is gross, but that's beside the point. Yeah, it may not be the best thing, but your brother isn't a child. You should have said something to your brother and your aunt personally. There's a good chance that she would have left and you could have held it over your brother's head so that he didn't follow her. Not the idiot. Your brother may be legally an adult, but your aunt's behavior was predatory. If it was your uncle and your 20-year-old sister, you probably wouldn't have any self-doubt, but people sometimes think boys are less vulnerable to manipulation. If you get a message to your brother, tell him that if he likes older women it's okay, but not to stick in crazy, because a woman wanting to make love with her nephew is definitely mentally unhinged. Realistically, your brother will probably never speak to any of his relatives again because your mother told them. So my boyfriend and I have been together for a year now. When we met I had 8 rats, one passed away recently, but the other 7 were perfectly healthy and I love them dearly. They are my babies and I adore them. He seemed to like them too and they accepted him as part of the gang. I thought he had some respect for these intelligent, adorable little rodents. I'm doubting that now. Very recently 2 of my boys got an upper respiratory infection, a standard illness for rats and quite easy to treat if caught in time. I took them both to the vet to get the medicine they needed. They were okay otherwise. I came back from the vet and my boyfriend and I talked about vet bills. I am entirely self-dependent and we do not share a bank account. All the vet bills were paid with my own savings. We are absolutely not short of money in any way. I told him the total price of the medication and consultation came out to $120. He was pissed. Told me I wasted my money, they'll probably die anyway, and stormed off. He refused to talk to me for the rest of the day. When I woke up and went to feed my rats, the same as I do every day, my 2 boys with a urus didn't come to say hi like they usually do. All of my other rats were around, but my other 2 were in their bed at the back of the cage. They were barely breathing, and they were cold. Most urus don't progress this fast, so I made an emergency appointment with my vet the same day. My white rat, Ghost, survived. It seems he was fine, he just wanted to keep his brother safe. He is perfectly healthy and recovering well currently. My other boy, Grunt, died cuddled up to me an hour before I saw the vet. I was inconsolable. I'm still heartbroken. The vet agreed to look into it and suggested perhaps an allergy to the medication was the cause. When I got home my boyfriend was up and we talked about everything that had gone on including the money issue. I explained what happened and there was no comforting at all. He snorted and said, "I told you they were a waste of money, just get a new one next week." Are you serious? Well yeah, it's cheaper to buy a new rat than treat one, so just let them die and we can replace them. They're not toys you can just throw out. They're rodents, it doesn't matter if they die. I lost my crap. I told him to pack his crap and get out and he called me a psychotic idiot and said that rats are filthy vermin. Then he left. I know he's staying with his parents so he definitely had somewhere to go. Everyone is siding with him and I feel so lost and alone. Not the idiot, it's also cheaper if I just let my dog die instead of treating his hypothyroid, $25 per month for pills, and go get a free one on one of the free adoption days at the shelter. But I'm not a monster, so I do what I promised him that I'd do when I adopted him, and I take care of him and make sure he is happy, healthy, and loved. That's what you're doing for your babies, making sure they are happy, healthy, and loved. For frog's sake, if you had a kid it's cheaper to let it die if it gets sick and then just make a new one. Not the idiot, even if he didn't feel emotionally attached to them, he should have been more comforting to you. Rats are very sweet and can be amazing companions. If he, and everyone around you, can't see how he was a total idiot in this situation then I don't know what to say to them. They are your pets, they are these sweet babies you are investing in. My boyfriend and I have paid almost $1,000 for an emergency vet visit for one of our cats. Both of us consider our animals to be the top priority, and we have a specific credit card for potential pet emergencies. I suspected at the end of the first paragraph that I could stop reading and still pass an accurate judgment. I was right. Anytime someone calls you pathetic or an idiot, it's because they have nothing to argue with and are lashing out to hurt you. He was an idiot when he said it and an idiot about your pets. Nobody gets to decide on the value of your pets but you. He's better off keeping his mouth shut if he can't be supportive than speaking out and showing that he doesn't respect your pets or your connection to them. Not the idiot. So my mom tends to be very opinionated and unsurprisingly, she has a lot of things to say about my wedding next fall. She's very traditional and likes things to be done a certain way. I've already compromised on a lot to make her happy. She didn't like the style of the wedding dress I originally wanted, so I went with my second choice. She thought our color scheme clashed too much, so I changed one of the colors to something more neutral. Our caterer offers 2 choices of meals in their standard wedding package, and we decided to do one meat option and one vegetarian option because some of our friends are vegetarian. If we splurge for a third meal choice, it's going to cost us nearly $1,500 more. We're paying for the wedding ourselves and really trying to stay under budget, so we have to stick to 2 meals. We sampled a bunch of different entrees during our tasting, and the 2 dishes we liked the most were the lamb chops and the mushroom risotto. Seriously, it was some of the best food we've ever eaten. It completely blew us away. When I told my mom we had selected our menu, she immediately said your Aunt X and Uncle Y don't like lamb and tried to get us to swap it out with a more traditional choice like chicken or beef. Apparently, my sister's upset too, because she just texted me to tell me she thought it was cruel to serve baby animals. She eats meat, for the record, so I don't understand why this is suddenly an issue. I pointed out that we were also having risotto, and she texted back, but I hate mushrooms. Like, can't she just pick them off? I don't get it. Honestly, I've changed so many things about this wedding to try to appease other people, and the food is basically the one thing left that I have any control over. It's also one of the few aspects of the wedding my fiancé cares strongly about, and he really wants to have the lamb chops. I feel like we should be able to serve the food we want at our own wedding. I don't want to say you are the idiot, but you kind of are. It's absolutely your choice of what food is going to be served, but I really think you need to think about the majority of your guests here. Well, those two dishes sound delicious, I love both. These are sadly not widely enjoyed foods by a lot of people. Many people do not enjoy lamb, and mushrooms tend to be a hard no for a lot of people too. I would personally hate to spend a decent chunk of my wedding budget on food that not a lot of guests would eat or enjoy. You are the idiot a little bit. Lamb is a less common protein choice that some people don't like the taste and texture of or are morally opposed to, as your sister pointed out. Chicken is usually the safest choice for the greatest number of people. There are also a lot of people who don't like mushrooms. With risotto, there's no picking them out, the entire risotto will taste like mushrooms. You should get the wedding you want, but I think you picked the wrong hill to die on. Your dress choice only impacts you. That's the one you should have fought for. Not the idiot. But seriously, you need to stop compromising with your mother on stuff like your dress and colors. She's way over involved and it sounds like she isn't paying for those things, so I don't know why you're giving in to her on these. In my opinion, you can tell her that you can't afford a third option for food, and if she wants one so badly, she can pay the $1,500 for it. That said, you already know you're picking two unusual entree options, so you shouldn't be offended if people aren't fond of the food. This morning I checked my bank account and saw a charge for $88 worth of sandwiches in my husband's card. He said he bought lunch for his guys at work. This is a joint account that we have had since we got married 16 years ago. We both work and contribute our whole paychecks into this account, and this is what we use for groceries and home expenses. I have had this conversation with him before, and I have told him that he should not be biting everyone's lunch. While we can afford it, we are trying to save up for a home renovation, so we have been very frugal in our spending. This is multiple times a week that he is spending from $50 to $100 per week buying lunch for everyone. They do not pay him in cash or reimburse him. Apparently, they will pay for his lunch next time they order something. This morning I asked him again to stop buying lunch for everyone after I saw the charge in our account. He told me it was his turn to buy lunch. I told him that he had a lunch at home, which he did. We have leftover sausage and peppers and sub rolls, and he agreed last time to stop doing this. I get the lunch culture. At my job, they order out once a week. But at my office, you sign up on a list and contribute cash towards the takeout order, so nobody has to put the order on their card. Now he's mad at me and tells me I don't understand and that it's customary at his job for the boss to buy lunch for all the guys. I told him that while it may be customary, it does not have to happen more than once a month. And that is how we left things. Am I the idiot for asking him to stop buying lunch for everyone? I've said this repeatedly because it works really well for couples who both earn separate bank accounts that your wages go into. Then on payday each month, a big chunk of that goes into the joint accounts: bills, mortgage payments, shopping, and a chunk towards savings for whatever you're looking to do, holidays or renovation. What's left in your personal accounts is your personal spending money on whatever crap you want to spend it on. I would only say you are the idiot if they do take it in turns. For your home expenses, I would recommend 3 accounts. One is the shared account, the one you already have but you both need to have a private account too. That way either one of you can splurge on something they want. You decide how much you want to contribute each month to the private accounts. For example, all the money goes into the shared account and $100 each goes to the private accounts. That way, not every spending ends in a discussion, and as an added bonus you can actually buy each other presents for which the gifted hasn't paid half. Not the idiot, but this is a prime example of a situation where marital allowance accounts would work perfectly. It can be a pain in the back to initially set up, but once you do it works really well. The bulk of your money goes into the joint account as it does now, for bills and joint expenses, groceries, etc. Then you each get a set amount into your own separate accounts for your fun money and individual expenses. Once that money is gone, that's it until the next month or pay period. We are 2 weeks back from our last vacation. I am deeply opposed to Airbnb and vacation rentals, but my husband wanted to try it since he thought it would save us money from having to eat out and the like, so I agreed. In the Airbnb, there was a drawer in the bottom of a hutch that said owner's belongings, please don't open. Well, of course, that was like a flame for a moth for my 2 boys, aged 9 and 6. I caught the kids playing in the drawer several times and admonished them to stay out per the instructions. I even emailed the owner and asked what was in the drawer. The owner said she just keeps some random items so she doesn't have to travel with them, and if they were making me uncomfortable, I could move them to the storage shed out back. I told I didn't think it would be a problem. Well, I was not watching my kids for a few minutes and they had gotten into the drawer again, but this time they had gotten out a medical therapy device that is apparently for physical therapy that provides electroshock for physical therapy reasons. They had set it to the most intense setting and within seconds they had caused themselves incredible pain. I could see their muscles pulsing and it scared the crap out of me. I took off the device and also shocked myself. I wasn't sure what to do, so I called 911 and as a precautionary measure, they sent an ambulance and took the three of us to the emergency room. It turns out the shocks did not cause anything other than pain, but they did a battery of tests to make sure there was no long-term damage. As you can imagine, with 3 patients, an ambulance ride, and several tests in a small-town emergency room, the total bills is going to run well into the tens of thousands of dollars. The first thing I did was consult with a lawyer when we got home. He is more than willing to take my case for several reasons. It's against state law to keep any medical device and medication unlocked in public property where children can access. The owner did not label the drawer. The owner did not lock the drawer. The owner caused us intense pain a reasonable person would think required medical attention. Well, here's where the moral question comes in. My husband is furious with me and thinks I way overreacted with the emergency room trip. He also thinks I have enlisted the services of a TV ambulance chaser who is of course going to try to pad this as much as he can. He thinks I'm an idiot because I overreacted to the entire thing. Why I think he's the idiot. He actually said the phrase "boys will boys" and we should have expected them to get into trouble. To me, that's a horrible phrase and something that may cause me to reconsider our marriage. But that's long-term thinking. Right now the fact is we stayed in a place that has been publicly accessible, where the owner caused us intense pain that caused a necessary trip to the emergency room. Am I the idiot for wanting to file the lawsuit? You're the idiot. The owner may not have locked the drawer, but it was clearly labeled as something you shouldn't touch. You noticed your kids going through the drawer and the owner gave you the option to move the items somewhere safer. Still, you chose to leave the items where your children could access and didn't provide adequate supervision to keep them away from the items. The injury was on you and the owner absolutely did not cause you intense pain. You're the idiot. Legally, sure, you might have a case. But in terms of idiocy, you're the one who screws here. The owner labeled the drawer with a request that you keep out and told you that you could move the contents because you were apparently incapable of keeping your kids out. You're also reconsidering your marriage because of your husband's "boys will be boys" remark, but said effectively the same thing when you stated that a keep out style sign was drawing your kids like moths to a flame, as though that's just to be expected from kids. You're the idiot. The box was labeled and you were even told you could move it by the owner. And it isn't public property, so your lawyer sounds like a dumb just trying to rack up expenses. If your kids found a pair of scissors and gouged their eyes out, would the owner be responsible? No. Your husband's reasoning of "boys will be boys" is stupid, but he's right in that pursuing this makes you the idiot. Sounds more like you're trying to cover the hospital bill than an actual morality issue.